Success is not about luck. It's about how much effort you put into becoming the best version of yourself. Every small effort to improve yourself today adds up to a transformed life tomorrow. Working hard on themselves. And that's why they stay stuck. That's why they don't grow. That's why year after year they feel like they're in the same place, facing the same problems, struggling with the same obstacles. But it doesn't have to be that way. If you want a better life, if you want more success, if you want real progress, then you have to start treating yourself like your most important project. You have to work hard on yourself, harder than you work on anything else. Because the truth is, everything in your life gets better when you get better. Your opportunities improve when you improve. Your results change when you change. Now I know what some people are thinking. I'll start working on myself when the time is right, when things calm down, when I feel ready. But let me tell you something. You'll never feel completely ready. The perfect time will never come. If you keep waiting, you'll wake up years from now in the same place, wondering why nothing changed. And I don't want that for you. That's why today I'm going to show you how to work hard on yourself the right way. We're not talking about just reading a book here and there or making a few small changes. No, we're talking about real transformation. The kind that makes you unrecognizable in a year. The kind that turns you into the person you always knew you could be. So if you're tired of feeling stuck, if you're ready to break through, if you're serious about changing your life, then stay with me until the end of this video. Because once you understand what I'm about to share, you'll never look at yourself or your future the same way again. Let's get started. Number 1, the greatest investment is yourself. The greatest investment you can ever make is not in a business, not in stocks, not in real estate. The greatest investment is in yourself. Because everything you want in life, everything you dream about, everything you hope for, it all starts with you. Most people never realize this. They spend years trying to fix things on the outside, trying to chase money, trying to get recognition. They work hard at their jobs. They put in extra hours. They hustle to impress their bosses, but they never take the time to work on themselves. And that's the mistake. Because when you grow, everything else in your life grows with you. Think about it. If you were to lose everything today, your job, your money, your connections, what do you have left? You have yourself. And if you've spent years developing skills, building knowledge, and becoming stronger, you can rebuild. But if you've neglected yourself, if you've never taken the time to improve, where does that leave you? That's why I say don't just work on your job, work on you. Don't just build a business, build yourself. Because the better you become, the better opportunities you attract. The more valuable you become, the more life rewards you. Let me ask you something. How much time do you spend improving yourself every day? How much effort do you put into growing your knowledge, sharpening your skills, developing your mindset? Be honest. Most people don't spend any time at all. They wake up, go to work, come home, watch TV, scroll through their phones, and do it all over again the next day. And then they wonder why life never changes. The truth is, if you want life to get better, you have to get better. If you want more success, more money, more opportunities, you have to become the person who deserves those things. Because life doesn't give you what you want. Life gives you what you earn. So where do you start? The first thing you have to do is take control of your learning. Most people stop learning after school. They think once they graduate, once they get a degree, they're done. But learning should never stop. If you're not learning, you're not growing. And if you're not growing, you're falling behind. You need to make it a habit to read every day. Listen to great speakers. Study people who have already achieved what you want. Success leaves clues. And if you're paying attention, you can learn from those who have walked the path before you. If you read just 10 pages of a good book every day, that's over 3,600 pages in a year. That's the knowledge that can change your life. But knowledge alone isn't enough. You also have to develop skills. The marketplace doesn't pay for potential. It pays for value. If you want to earn more, if you want to have better opportunities, you need to become more valuable. That means learning how to communicate better, how to solve problems, how to think critically. That means developing skills that people need. If you're in sales, get better at sales. If you're in business, get better at running a business. If you work with people, get better at understanding them. The more valuable you become, the more options you have. And the best part? Nobody can take your skills away from you. You can lose a job, but you can't lose the skills you built. You can lose money, but you can't lose the knowledge you gain. Now let's talk about something most people avoid: discipline. This is where people struggle the most. It's easy to get excited about self-improvement. It's easy to say, I'm gonna read books. I'm gonna learn new skills. I'm gonna wake up early and be productive. But when the time comes to actually do it, that's where people give up. They wake up and say, I don't feel like reading today. They skip their workout. They procrastinate on learning that new skill. And before they know it, days turn into weeks. Weeks turn into months. And nothing changes. You have to understand something. Discipline is the foundation of success. The people who achieve great things in life are not the ones who always feel motivated. They're the ones who do the work, even when they don't feel like it. You won't always feel like reading, but read anyway. You won't always feel like practicing, but practice anyway. You won't always feel like pushing yourself, but push anyway. That's how you separate yourself from the average person. That's how you build a future you can be proud of. One of the biggest mistakes people make is waiting until they feel ready to start. They say, I'll start working on myself when I have more time. I'll start when I feel more motivated. I'll start when things settle down. But guess what? That perfect time never comes. There will always be distractions. Always be reasons to wait. Always be something that makes you feel like now isn't the right time. So stop waiting. Start now. Even if you're tired, even if you're busy, even if you don't feel like it. Because the more you delay, the more time you waste. And time is the one thing you can never get back. Now let's be real. This process isn't easy. Working on yourself is hard. It's uncomfortable. It forces you to face your weaknesses. It forces you to admit that you don't know everything, that you need to improve. And that's not always fun. But you have two choices. You can either go through the discomfort of growth, or you can stay exactly where you are and live with the regret of never becoming the person you were meant to be. At the end of the day, nobody is coming to save you. Nobody is going to do the work for you. Your future is your responsibility. If you want a better life, build yourself into the kind of person who creates one. Invest in your mind. Invest in your skills. Invest in your habits. Because everything you put into yourself today will pay off in the future. And remember, working hard on yourself is not something you do for a few weeks or a few months. It's a lifelong commitment. You never stop growing. You never stop learning. You never stop improving. Because the moment you stop, you start falling behind. So let me ask you again. Are you investing in yourself? Are you pushing yourself to grow every day? Or are you waiting, hoping that life will somehow get better on its own? If you're not happy with where you are, start working on you. Because when you do, everything around you will start to change. That's the greatest investment you can ever make. And the best part, you're in control of it. Number 2. Personal growth starts with responsibility. Who is responsible for your life? Who is responsible for where you are right now? Who is responsible for your success, your failures, your habits, your daily decisions? It's not your parents. It's not your boss. It's not the government. It's not society. It's you. The moment you accept that, truly accept it, is the moment your life changes. Most people don't want to hear that. They want to believe their problems are because of something outside of them. They blame their upbringing. They blame the economy. They blame their job, their relationships, their environment. They think if only things were different, if only people treated them better, if only they had better luck, then everything would be okay. But that's not how life works. Because as long as you keep blaming something outside of you, you give up control. Think about it. If the reason you're struggling is because of someone else, then that means you have to wait for them to change before your life gets better. If the reason you're unhappy is because of circumstances, then that means you have to wait for circumstances to improve before you can be happy. And that's a terrible way to live. Waiting, hoping, depending on something outside of you to fix your life. The truth is, if you want things to change, you have to change. If you want to see progress, you have to take responsibility for making it happen. Nobody is coming to save you. Nobody is going to wake you up in the morning and push you to do the work. Nobody is going to sit down and force you to learn, to grow, to get better. That's your job. And the sooner you accept that, the sooner you start making real progress. Now, taking responsibility doesn't mean blaming yourself for everything that's gone wrong. It doesn't mean sitting there feeling guilty about the past. It simply means recognizing that, from this moment forward, your choices determine your future. You can't control everything that happens to you, but you can control how you respond. You can control how much effort you put in, how much time you invest in yourself, how much discipline you develop. That's where your power is. One of the biggest mistakes people make is waiting for motivation. They say, I'll start working on myself when I feel more inspired. But motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes. If you only work on yourself when you feel like it, you're never going to get anywhere. You have to learn to take action regardless of how you feel. You have to build discipline, because discipline is what keeps you going when motivation fades. If you want to start taking full responsibility for your life, start by looking at your daily habits. What do you do every single day? Because your habits are creating your future. Are you spending your time learning, growing, getting stronger? Or are you wasting hours on distractions? Are you disciplined with your health, your mindset, your finances, or are you letting things slide? If your life isn't where you want it to be, look at your daily choices. That's where the answer is. The next step is being honest with yourself. This is the hard part. Most people don't like facing the truth. They don't like admitting that they're not putting in enough effort, that they're not consistent, that they could be doing more. But if you can be honest with yourself, if you can admit where you're falling short, then you can fix it. You can change. You can grow. But you can't do that if you're lying to yourself. Another thing you have to do is stop making excuses. Excuses are the number one thing that hold people back. They say, I don't have time, but they have time for TV, for social media, for things that don't help them grow. They say, I don't have the right opportunities, but they don't take advantage of the opportunities they already have. They say, it's not my fault, but they don't do anything to change their situation. Every time you make an excuse, you're choosing to stay stuck. And let me tell you something, nobody who is successful got there by making excuses. They got there by taking full responsibility. They got there by saying, it's up to me. Nobody is going to do this for me. And then they put in the work, even when it was hard. When you take responsibility, something incredible happens. You stop feeling helpless. You stop feeling stuck. Because now, instead of waiting for life to change, you realize that you can change. Instead of waiting for things to get better, you start making them better. Instead of hoping for luck, you create your own opportunities. That's real power. Now let's talk about what happens when you don't take responsibility. When you blame others, when you wait for things to change on their own, when you refuse to admit that your choices are shaping your life, what happens? You stay exactly where you are. You keep repeating the same patterns. You wake up 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and nothing is different. And that's a painful place to be, to realize that you wasted years making excuses, instead of making progress. You don't want that. You don't want to look back and wish you had started sooner. So start now. Start today. Take responsibility for everything in your life, even the things that aren't your fault, not because you have to, but because it gives you power. It puts you in control. It gives you the ability to create the life you want, instead of waiting for it to magically happen. And let me be clear, this isn't a one-time thing. Taking responsibility isn't something you do once and then forget about. It's a daily practice. Every day you wake up and ask yourself, what can I do today to move forward? Every day you hold yourself accountable. Every day you remind yourself that you're in charge of your future. And the more you do that, the stronger you become. Number 3, change your thinking. Change your life. Your thoughts shape your reality. The way you think determines what you do, what you achieve, and how you live. If you want to change your life, the first thing you have to do is change your thinking. Most people don't realize how much their mindset is controlling their future. They wake up every day with the same thoughts they had yesterday. They go through life believing the same things about themselves, about money, about success, about what they can and can't do, and they wonder why nothing changes. But how could it? If you don't change the way you think, you will always make the same decisions. And if you keep making the same decisions, you will always get the same results. That's why the first step to transformation is mental. You have to work on how you think. You have to challenge the beliefs that are holding you back. You have to reprogram your mind to see possibilities instead of limitations. You have to stop thinking like someone who is stuck and start thinking like someone who is going somewhere. Because when you change your thinking, you change your life. Think about where your current beliefs came from. When you were a child, you didn't choose your mindset. It was given to you. You absorbed it from your family, your friends, your environment. If you grew up hearing that money is hard to get, that success is only for lucky people, that life is unfair, then chances are you believe those things on some level. And if you believe them, they become true for you. Not because they're real, but because your mind is programmed to see the world that way. But what if I told you that none of those beliefs are facts? What if I told you that you could change every single one of them? You don't have to keep thinking the way you were taught to think. You don't have to keep seeing the world the way you've always seen it. You can choose new beliefs. You can train your mind to think in a way that leads to success. But it won't happen by accident. It happens when you decide to take control of what goes into your mind. One of the biggest differences between successful people and those who struggle is how they think about challenges. Most people see problems as barriers. They say, I can't do this because it's too hard. But successful people see problems as opportunities. They say, this is tough, but I'm going to figure it out. Same situation, completely different mindset. And that mindset makes all the difference. You have to learn to see obstacles as part of the journey. You have to train yourself to stop saying, I can't, and start asking, how can I? That small shift changes everything. Because the truth is, your brain will find whatever it's looking for. If you focus on why something is impossible, your brain will give you reasons why it won't work. But if you focus on how to make it happen, your brain will start looking for solutions. Most people spend too much time focusing on what they don't want instead of what they do want. They say, I don't want to be broke, but that's not a goal. That's just fear. Instead, say, I want to build wealth, and here's how I'm going to do it. They say, I don't want to fail. But failure isn't the enemy. The real enemy is never trying. If you keep thinking about what you're afraid of, you'll keep running from it. But if you focus on what you want, you'll start moving toward it. The way you talk to yourself matters. Pay attention to the words you use in your mind. Do you tell yourself, I'm not good enough, I'll never make it, I'm not that kind of person? If so, you're reinforcing a belief that will keep you stuck. Instead, start telling yourself a new story. Say, I am capable. Say, I can learn. Say, I will figure this out. You might not believe it at first, but keep saying it. Your mind listens to what you tell it, and over time it will start to believe the new story you're writing. If you want to change your thinking, surround yourself with people who think the way you want to think. If you spend all your time with people who complain, you will start complaining. If you spend all your time with people who have small goals, you will start lowering your own goals. But if you spend time with people who push themselves, who work hard, who believe in growth, then you will start thinking bigger. Find books, find mentors, find videos that challenge you to think differently. Because the more you expose yourself to new ways of thinking, the more your own thinking will change. Your mindset affects every part of your life. It affects your confidence. It affects your work ethic. It affects how you handle setbacks. If you believe that success is possible for you, you will take action. If you believe that you are capable of learning, you will keep going when things get hard. But if you believe that you're stuck, that life is unfair, that nothing ever works out for you, then you will give up before you even try. That's why mindset is everything. If you want to start changing your mindset, start by being aware of your thoughts. Throughout the day, pay attention to what you're telling yourself. Are you encouraging yourself or tearing yourself down? Are you looking for solutions or making excuses? Every time you catch yourself thinking in a way that holds you back, stop and correct it. Replace it with a thought that moves you forward. This takes practice, but the more you do it, the stronger your mindset becomes. Your life will always rise to the level of your thinking. If you think small, you will live small. If you think big, you will push yourself to grow. If you think like a victim, you will always find reasons to stay stuck. But if you think like someone who is in control of their own future, you will start creating a better one. No one else is responsible for changing your thinking. That's up to you. You have to make the decision. You have to do the work. You have to train your mind to see opportunities instead of obstacles, growth instead of failure, possibilities instead of limitations. And once you do, your entire life will start to change. Number 4, develop a strong work ethic on yourself, something that will decide whether you stay where you are or rise to a whole new level. It's called work ethic. And I'm not just talking about working hard in your job or business. I'm talking about developing a strong work ethic on yourself. See, most people work hard on their jobs. They show up on time. They do what they're supposed to do. They put in effort because they have to. Their paycheck depends on it. But the question is, how hard are they working on themselves? That's the real question. Because let me tell you something. If you work hard on your job, you can make a living. But if you work hard on yourself, you can make a fortune. Your skills, your mindset, your habits, your discipline. These are the things that will determine how far you go. And the problem is, most people never put in the effort to improve these things. They assume that life will somehow get better on its own. They assume that success is about luck, about being in the right place at the right time. But it's not. It's about becoming the kind of person who attracts success. The truth is, your level of success will never exceed your level of personal growth. If you want to earn more, you have to become more. If you want a better life, you have to build yourself into a better person. And that takes work, real work. The kind of work that no one sees. The kind of work that doesn't give you instant rewards. The kind of work that takes patience and discipline. The first step is taking full responsibility for where you are. No more blaming the government, the economy, your family, or your past. If you want to change your life, you have to own your results. No excuses. Because the moment you take responsibility, you take back control. And when you have control, you can do something about it. Now, once you've taken responsibility, the next step is developing the habits that will take you to the next level. And let me tell you, this isn't easy. Most people struggle because they rely on motivation. But motivation comes and goes. You can't rely on feeling inspired every day. What you need is discipline. The ability to do what you need to do, even when you don't feel like it. If you want to develop a strong work ethic on yourself, start by setting a higher standard. Decide that from this moment forward, you are going to hold yourself to a new level of discipline. You are going to demand more from yourself. Because the truth is, most people operate at a fraction of their potential. They take the easy route. They do the minimum. And then they wonder why they never get extraordinary results. You have to be different. You have to commit to pushing yourself every single day. That means waking up with a purpose. That means eliminating distractions. That means saying no to things that don't add value to your life. Because every time you give in to laziness, every time you put things off, you are training yourself to fail. And every time you push through, every time you do what you said you were going to do, you are training yourself to succeed. One of the most powerful things you can do is track your progress. Keep a journal. Write down what you're working on. Set clear goals. And every single day, hold yourself accountable. Because success isn't built in one day. It's built in the small decisions you make every day. The little things matter. What time you wake up, how you spend your mornings, what you feed your mind, who you surround yourself with. These things might seem small, but over time they create your entire future. The truth is, developing a strong work ethic on yourself is a lifelong commitment. You never stop growing. You never stop learning. You never stop improving. And if you take this seriously, if you truly commit to working on yourself every day, you will start to see changes. Maybe not right away, but over time you'll look back and realize that you've become a completely different person, a stronger person, a wiser person, a more disciplined person. Number 5, strengthen your mindset against negativity. Life is full of challenges. Everywhere you turn, there are people trying to tell you what you can and cannot do. There are situations that will test your patience, your strength, and your determination. And if you're not careful, if you're not strong enough, negativity will creep into your mind and start shaping your thoughts, your attitude, and your future. That's why you have to make a decision right now to strengthen your mindset against negativity. Let me tell you something. Negativity is everywhere. You don't even have to look for it. Just turn on the news, scroll through social media, or listen to the people around you. There's always someone complaining, always someone making excuses, always someone telling you that life is unfair. And if you're not careful, if you don't guard your mind, you'll start believing it. You'll start accepting the idea that you have no control, that life just happens to you, that success is out of reach. But that's not true. The truth is, your mindset is your greatest weapon. It determines how you see the world. It shapes your actions. It controls what you focus on. And if you allow negativity to take over, you won't even realize that you're sabotaging yourself. You'll start doubting your abilities. You'll start hesitating when opportunities come your way. You'll start holding yourself back, because deep down you'll believe the negative voices. That's why you have to strengthen your mind. You have to develop the ability to block out the noise and stay focused on what really matters. Now, how do you do that? How do you strengthen your mindset against negativity? The first step is to take control of what you allow into your mind. Think about it. Every day, you are feeding your mind something. The question is, what are you feeding it? Are you feeding it fear, doubt, and limitation? Or are you feeding it confidence, belief, and inspiration? Because your mind is like a garden. If you don't take care of it, weeds will grow, and those weeds will take over everything. You have to make a conscious decision to fill your mind with the right things. Read books that challenge you. Listen to people who inspire you. Surround yourself with those who push you to do better. Because if you spend all your time around negativity, you will become negative. If you spend all your time listening to people who complain, you will become a complainer. You become what you expose yourself to. The second step is to train yourself to see problems differently. Most people let problems bring them down. They see challenges as obstacles. They let failure shake their confidence. But successful people, strong people, they see things differently. They understand that problems are part of life. They know that every challenge is an opportunity to grow. When something doesn't go their way, they don't complain. They adjust. They don't sit around feeling sorry for themselves. They figure out what needs to be done, and they do it. The strongest people in the world aren't the ones who never face difficulty. They are the ones who face difficulty and refuse to let it break them. They develop a mindset that says, no matter what happens, I will keep going. They understand that setbacks are temporary, but quitting is permanent. And that's the kind of mindset you need if you want to win in life. The third step is to control your emotions. This is a big one, because negativity doesn't just come from the outside, it comes from the inside too. Your own fears, your doubts, your worries. If you're not careful, these things will consume you. You'll start second-guessing yourself. You'll start letting fear control your decisions. But let me tell you something. Fear is not real. It's a story you tell yourself. And the only way to overcome it is to stop feeding it. Every time you let fear stop you, you make it stronger. Every time you let doubt hold you back, you reinforce it. That's why you have to train yourself to act, even when you're afraid. You have to push through the discomfort. You have to remind yourself that fear is just an illusion. Because the more you push through, the stronger you become. And finally, you have to learn to let go of things that don't serve you. Negative people, negative thoughts, negative habits. These things will drain you. They will keep you stuck. They will rob you of your energy, your motivation, and your potential. You have to make a decision to cut them out of your life. Not tomorrow, not next week, right now. Because every day you spend holding on to negativity is a day you could be using to build something better. Number 6. Improve your communication skills. If you want to succeed in life, if you want to have great relationships, if you want to open doors of opportunity, you have to improve your communication skills. There's no way around it. It's not just about what you know, it's about how you express it. It's about how you make people feel when you talk to them. It's about how well you can share ideas, inspire action, and connect with others in a meaningful way. Most people think communication is just about talking. But real communication, the kind that changes lives, the kind that opens doors, goes much deeper than that. It's about understanding. It's about listening. It's about making sure that when you speak, your words carry weight. Your words have power, but only if you know how to use them right. Some people talk a lot, but they say very little. Others say just a few words, and those words stay with you forever. That's the difference between noise and true communication. If you've ever wondered why some people can walk into a room and instantly grab attention, while others struggle to be heard, the answer is simple. They have mastered the skill of communication. They know how to make their words count. They know how to deliver a message that sticks. And that's what you need to do. You have to learn how to get your point across with clarity, confidence, and impact. One of the first things you need to work on is listening. Most people don't listen. They just wait for their turn to talk. That's not communication. That's just noise. When you truly listen to someone, you're not just hearing their words, you're understanding their thoughts. You're picking up on their emotions. You're paying attention to what's behind the words. And when people feel heard, they respect you. They trust you. They open up to you. And that's how strong relationships are built. Listening is a skill, and like any skill, it takes practice. The next time you're having a conversation, don't think about what you're going to say next. Focus completely on the other person. Give them your full attention. Look them in the eye. Pay attention to their tone, their expressions, their body language. And when they're done speaking, take a moment before you respond. Let them know you truly heard them. This one change alone will improve the way people see you. It will set you apart. Because in a world full of distractions, someone who truly listens is rare. Now let's talk about confidence. If you don't believe in what you're saying, no one else will either. Confidence in communication doesn't mean being loud. It doesn't mean talking over people. It means being sure of your words. It means standing by your message. It means speaking with certainty. And that certainty comes from preparation. When you know what you're talking about, when you've done your homework, when you've taken the time to understand your subject, confidence comes naturally. Think about the great speakers, the people who inspire you. They don't just speak, they deliver a message with power. And that power comes from the fact that they believe in their words. If you want to improve your communication, work on developing that same certainty. Whatever you're speaking about, whether it's a business idea, a personal story, or a simple conversation, make sure you know what you're saying. Make sure your words have meaning, and say them like you mean it. Clarity is another key part of great communication. If people don't understand you, they won't remember you. The best communicators take complex ideas and make them simple. They don't try to impress with big words. They don't talk in circles. They get straight to the point. If you want people to listen to you, make sure your message is clear. Make sure your words are easy to understand. The goal is not to sound smart. The goal is to be understood. One of the best ways to improve clarity is to slow down. Too many people rush their words. They talk too fast. They cram too much information into one sentence. And in the end, nothing sticks. Take your time. Let your words land. Give people a moment to absorb what you're saying. When you slow down, your words carry more weight. Your message becomes more powerful. Another important skill is knowing how to adjust your communication to different situations. You don't speak to your boss the same way you speak to your best friend. You don't present a business idea the same way you tell a personal story. Every situation requires a different approach. Great communicators know how to adapt. They know how to read the room. They know when to be serious, when to be lighthearted, when to be direct, and when to be patient. If you want to become a better communicator, start practicing right now. Start paying attention to how you speak, how you listen, how you connect with others. Watch how great communicators carry themselves. Study their tone, their pacing, their body language, and most importantly, practice. Speak with confidence. Listen with focus. Make your words count. Because the better you communicate, the more doors will open for you. Number 7, take care of your body like a business asset. A lot of people spend their lives chasing success, chasing wealth, chasing achievement, and they ignore the one thing that makes all of it possible: their own body. You can have the best ideas, the best opportunities, the biggest dreams, but if you don't have the energy to execute them, if you don't have the health to enjoy them, what's the point? Your body is like an asset, a tool. If you take care of it, it will take care of you. If you neglect it, if you push it beyond its limits, without proper maintenance, sooner or later, it will break down. And let me tell you, when your health fails, nothing else matters. You can't buy energy. You can't purchase more time when you're exhausted. No amount of money can replace the ability to wake up feeling strong, focused, and ready to take on the day. I've seen people work hard all their lives, building businesses, chasing dreams, staying up late, skipping meals, running on coffee and stress. And then one day their body says, "That's enough." And when that happens, everything stops. Your plans, your dreams, your ambitions, none of it matters if you don't have the strength to keep going. So I'm telling you right now, take care of yourself before it's too late. Energy is everything. Without it, you can't focus. Without it, you can't create. Without it, even the simplest tasks feel impossible. And the quality of your energy is determined by how you treat your body, what you eat, how you move, how you rest. These things aren't just side details. They are the foundation of everything you do. When you feel good, you think better. When you feel strong, you work harder. When you wake up rested, you bring more to the table. A lot of people think success is about grinding every hour of the day, sacrificing sleep, skipping meals, pushing through exhaustion. But that's not smart, that's short-term thinking. You might get ahead for a little while, but eventually, your body will slow you down. And when you're forced to stop, you'll lose more time than you ever saved. The real winners, the people who go the distance, they understand something different. They know that taking care of their body is part of the work. You wouldn't run a business without keeping track of your finances, would you? You wouldn't drive a car without ever changing the oil. So why would you live your life without taking care of the one thing that makes it all possible? Your health. Every meal you eat, every hour of sleep you get, every time you choose movement over sitting, you're making an investment. You're building the energy reserves that will help you push harder, last longer, think clearer, and perform better. Let's talk about food, because what you put in your body affects everything. Your mood, your energy, your focus, your productivity. You wouldn't put low-quality fuel into a high-performance car. And yet most people fill their bodies with junk and expect to perform at their best. If you want more energy, if you want more focus, start paying attention to what you eat. Eat real food, drink water, give your body what it actually needs, instead of what's easy and convenient. Exercise isn't just about looking good, it's about feeling good. It's about having the strength to get through long days, the endurance to keep going when others get tired. It's about mental clarity, about confidence, about resilience, and you don't have to be a professional athlete. You don't have to spend hours in the gym. Just move, walk, stretch, lift something heavy, do something that challenges your body. Because when you challenge your body, you strengthen your mind. And then there's sleep. So many people treat sleep like it's optional, like it's something you do if you have extra time. But let me tell you, sleep isn't a waste of time. It's a power move. It's how you recover. It's how you rebuild. It's how you reset your mind for the next day. When you don't sleep, your decisions suffer. Your energy drops. Your patience runs thin. Your creativity fades. And before you know it, you're just getting through the day instead of attacking it. You want to be more productive? Get better sleep.
You want to have better ideas.
Sleep. You want to be in a better mood, have more energy, be more focused. Sleep. It's not a luxury, it's a necessity. The most successful people in the world don't skip sleep. They prioritize it because they know that their energy is their greatest asset. So I'm telling you now, treat your body like the greatest investment you will ever make, because it is. If you take care of it, it will pay you back in energy, in focus, in resilience, in longevity. If you neglect it, you will pay for it later. It's that simple. Make the choice now to take care of yourself. Eat well, move your body, get your rest, protect your energy. Because in the end, your success, your happiness, your ability to keep pushing forward, it all depends on the strength of the body that carries you.
Number 8. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Most people spend their lives avoiding discomfort. They run from anything that feels hard, anything that makes them uneasy, anything that pushes them past what they're used to. They stay in their comfort zone because it feels safe, it feels familiar, it feels easy. But let me ask you this, has staying comfortable ever helped you grow? Has avoiding challenges ever made you stronger? Has playing it safe ever led to success? No, it hasn't, and it never will, because growth doesn't happen in comfort. Strength isn't built by doing what's easy. Success doesn't come to those who refuse to be uncomfortable. Look at your life right now. Think about where you are, what you have, what you've accomplished. Now ask yourself, how much of this is a result of pushing yourself? How much of this came from stepping into the unknown, taking risks, and challenging yourself? And how much of it is the result of staying where it's safe, doing only what's familiar, and avoiding the struggle? If you want more, if you want to reach higher, if you want to be better, you have to be willing to be uncomfortable. There is no way around it. The life you want, the person you want to become, the goals you want to achieve, they all require you to step outside of what's easy. The problem is that most people don't want to be uncomfortable. They want success, but they don't want to struggle. They want growth, but they don't want to face difficulty. They want to be strong, but they don't want to feel weak first. So they stay in the same place year after year, wondering why nothing changes. Let me tell you why. It's because they are avoiding the very thing that will change them. They don't want to feel the discomfort that comes with pushing themselves. But that discomfort is the price of progress. That discomfort is the process of transformation. Think about this. Every time you've learned something new, every time you've improved, every time you've grown, it wasn't comfortable, was it? It was hard. It was frustrating. It challenged you. But once you pushed through it, once you got past the hard part, you came out stronger. You gained new skills, new confidence, new abilities. And the more you went through that process, the more you realized that discomfort wasn't something to fear. It was something to embrace. This is why the most successful people in the world are not the ones who avoid discomfort. They are the ones who seek it out. They don't run from challenges. They look for them. They don't back down when things get tough. They lean in. They understand that discomfort is a sign that they are growing, that they are improving, that they are moving forward. And because they are willing to be uncomfortable, they reach levels of success that most people will never experience. Now I want you to think about what's holding you back. What are you avoiding? Because it's uncomfortable. Is it the fear of failure? Is it the fear of looking foolish? Is it the fear of not being good enough? Whatever it is, I promise you this. Your success is on the other side of that fear. Your growth is on the other side of that challenge. Everything you want is waiting for you, but you will never get it if you're not willing to go through the discomfort first. You have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. You have to train yourself to step into difficult situations, to take on challenges, to do things that scare you. Because the more you do it, the easier it gets. The first time you push yourself beyond your limits, it feels impossible. The second time, it's still hard, but you start to believe you can handle it. The third time, you realize you are stronger than you thought. And before you know it, discomfort becomes your new normal. Struggle becomes something you embrace. Difficulty becomes something you look forward to. Because you know that every time you go through it, you come out better on the other side. But most people never get to that point. They never push through the hard part. They quit when it gets uncomfortable. They stop when things don't go their way. They give up the moment they feel resistance. And then they wonder why they never get ahead. It's because they haven't learned how to deal with discomfort. They let it stop them instead of using it to grow. And that's the difference between the people who succeed and the people who don't. The ones who succeed are not necessarily the smartest, the most talented, or the luckiest. They are simply the ones who keep going when others stop. They are the ones who are willing to be uncomfortable. You have to stop seeing discomfort as a bad thing. You have to start seeing it as a sign that you are on the right path. Because if you are always comfortable, if nothing in your life challenges you, then you are not growing. You are not improving. You are staying the same. And if you stay the same, you will never reach your full potential. So let me challenge you right now. Think about something in your life that you've been avoiding because it's uncomfortable. Maybe it's a difficult conversation you need to have. Maybe it's a skill you need to learn. Maybe it's a goal you've been putting off because it seems too hard. Whatever it is, I want you to commit to doing it. Not next week, not next month. Today, right now, take the first step. And when it feels uncomfortable, when it feels difficult, when you want to quit, keep going. Remind yourself that this is the process. This is what growth feels like. This is what success demands. Because at the end of the day, the choice is yours. You can stay where it's safe, where it's easy, where nothing ever challenges you. Or you can step into discomfort, face the struggle, push yourself beyond what you thought was possible. And if you do that, if you embrace the hard moments instead of avoiding them, if you lean into the discomfort instead of running from it, you will discover a strength within yourself that you never knew existed. You will become someone you never thought you could be. And that, my friend, is the key to everything you've ever wanted. Number 9, take action without waiting for the perfect time. I want to start with something that for many people seems like a small thing, but can end up being a huge barrier to success. You know what I'm talking about, right? It's the idea that everything has to be perfect before you take action. So many people wait for the perfect time or the perfect conditions to start moving forward. But here's the truth. There's never going to be a perfect time. And waiting for that perfect moment, that's the thing that's going to keep you stuck right where you are. I know it's tempting. We all want things to line up perfectly, don't we? We want the stars to align. We want the situation to be ideal. And we want to feel completely ready. But here's the problem with that. You're not going to feel 100% ready. You're never going to have everything figured out before you start. It's just not how it works. If you wait for the perfect time, you'll be waiting forever. Here's what you need to understand. You will never have all the information you think you need. You'll never feel like you have all the answers. And that's okay. That's where so many people get tripped up. They think they need to have everything figured out. But the truth is, you figure things out as you go. The key is to just start. Take action. Even when you don't feel ready. Start with what you know and build from there. Think about it this way. What's the worst that's going to happen if you just start? What's the worst case scenario? You make a mistake. You hit a roadblock. You fail. But guess what? Failure is a part of the process. In fact, failure is the best teacher you'll ever have. The mistakes you make along the way will show you exactly what doesn't work. And that's priceless information. So what if you don't have everything figured out? What if you start with just a little bit of knowledge? You'll learn as you go, and you'll get better and better. One of the biggest mistakes people make is thinking that they have to wait for everything to be perfect before they start. They think they need more time, more resources, or more information. But let me tell you something. Perfection doesn't exist. You can't wait for it, because it's not out there. The people you admire, the ones who've accomplished the things you dream about, they didn't wait for perfect conditions. They just took action. And that's what made all the difference. What you need to realize is that the perfect time will never come, and the perfect conditions will never show up. The time is now. What's holding you back? Is it fear? Is it doubt? Is it the idea that you need to know more before you start? Whatever it is, let me tell you something. It's just an excuse. The truth is, the longer you wait for the perfect time, and the longer you delay your own progress, you're just putting off the inevitable. When you wait for the perfect time, you miss out on all the opportunities that are right in front of you. Every moment you spend waiting is a moment you're not taking action. Every day you delay is a day you're not getting closer to your goals. And the longer you wait, the harder it becomes to take that first step. That's the trap. You get stuck in this cycle of waiting and wondering, and it keeps you exactly where you are. But if you take action now, even if it's messy, even if you don't have all the answers, you're moving forward, and that's what counts. Progress is what matters. It's not about having everything perfect before you start. It's about getting started and figuring things out as you go. When you take action, you learn, you adapt, and you grow. And that's how you make real progress. Think about all the successful people you know. None of them started with everything figured out. None of them waited for the perfect time. They started with what they had, and they kept going, even when it wasn't perfect. And that's what made them successful. They didn't let fear or doubt hold them back. They didn't wait for the perfect conditions. They made their own perfect time by taking action. So what does this mean for you? It means you need to stop waiting. Stop waiting for the right time to start your business, to make a change in your life, to work on your goals. The time is now. You need to act now. The longer you wait, the further away your goals get. But when you take action, you close the gap. You start moving closer to the life you want to live. It's not about waiting for everything to be perfect. It's about taking imperfect action. It's about doing what you can with what you have and learning as you go. Every step forward, no matter how small, is progress. And that progress adds up over time. You don't need to have all the answers. You just need to start. The rest will come. Now let me be clear. I'm not saying you should be reckless. I'm not saying you should go into something without thinking it through at all. What I'm saying is that you don't need to wait for everything to be perfectly aligned before you take action. There will never be a time when all the pieces fall into place and everything is just right. So you can keep waiting for that perfect moment, or you can make today your perfect moment and take action right now. The longer you wait, the more you let fear and uncertainty control you. The more you let those things hold you back from moving forward. But the more you take action, the more you build confidence. The more you get comfortable with the unknown. The more you learn, the more you grow.
No.
And the closer you get to where you want to be. If you want to achieve your goals, if you want to change your life,
If you want to build the future you dream about, you have to stop waiting for the perfect time. The time is now. It's always now. There's no better time than today to take that first step. So what's holding you back? What are you waiting for? Take action. Don't wait for everything to be perfect, because it never will be. Just start. Even if you don't have all the answers, start with what you know and keep moving forward. The more you take action, the more you learn.
And the more you get closer to your goals. And remember, it's okay if things aren't perfect. It's okay if you don't know everything. It's okay if you make mistakes, because every step you take, every action you make, is bringing you closer to where you want to be. You're learning, growing, and getting better every day. That's what matters. Number 10, learn from failure instead of fearing it. We're going to dive into something I'm sure you've heard of before. Failure. Now, I know what you're thinking, Jim, why would you talk about failure? I want to win, not fail. But stick with me here, because I'm going to share a perspective on failure that could change everything for you. Failure is something we all experience, whether it's a small mistake, a big setback, or even something that feels like a complete collapse of everything you've worked for. Failure is a part of life. It's something that everyone faces. No one is exempt. But here's the real kicker. Failure is not something to be feared. It's actually something to be welcomed. I want to challenge your current view on failure. We've been conditioned to believe that failure is something to avoid at all costs. But here's the truth. Failure is not the opposite of success. In fact, it's a crucial part of the journey to success. Let me tell you why. The first thing you need to understand is that failure is not the end. It's simply a lesson. When you fail, you are given the opportunity to learn something that you didn't know before. Every single time you fall short, you learn, you discover what doesn't work, you identify areas for improvement, and you figure out a better way to move forward. The only true failure in life is the failure to learn from your mistakes. I've been there. I failed. I've had moments where I thought I was doing everything right, and still things didn't go as planned. I've made mistakes that set me back, and I've stumbled in ways that made me question if I was on the right path. But here's the thing. I didn't let that stop me. I kept going. I learned from my failures, adjusted my approach, and kept moving forward. And that's what I want for you too. When you fail, you're not failing as a person. You're simply failing at one particular approach or strategy. That's it. It's not a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of the method you're using. And the more you fail, the more you'll learn. Eventually, you'll get it right. And when you do, that's when success happens. Think about all the successful people you admire. Every one of them has failed along the way. Every single one. Failure is not a sign that you're not cut out for success. It's a sign that you're learning. Think about Thomas Edison, the man who invented the light bulb. Do you know how many times he failed before he succeeded? Over 1,000 times. And every time he failed, he didn't think of it as a failure. He thought of it as another step closer to finding the solution. You've probably heard the saying, fail forward. And that's exactly what you need to do. Don't let your failures push you back. Let them push you forward. Use each failure as an opportunity to grow, to refine your approach, and to get better. Every mistake is a step on the path to success, not a detour away from it. Now, I know it's easier said than done. When you're in the midst of a failure, it can feel like the world is crashing down around you. It can feel like everything you've worked for is falling apart. But remember, that's just your perception at the moment. The truth is, every successful person you admire has had moments just like that. They've had moments where they didn't know if they could keep going, but they did, and that's why they're successful today. Failure isn't permanent, it's temporary, and it's part of the process. When you fail, you get a chance to rebuild, to reevaluate, and to come back stronger. The key is to never let failure make you quit. Don't let it define you. Use it as fuel to keep going. One thing I want you to remember is that failure is not personal. It's not a judgment of who you are. It's a natural part of the process. If you're not failing, then you're not pushing yourself hard enough. You're not stepping out of your comfort zone enough. You're not taking enough risks. You're not growing. And that's the thing about success. It's never guaranteed. There are no shortcuts, no guarantees. But if you're willing to put in the work, and if you're willing to embrace failure as part of the process, then success will eventually come. It's inevitable.
Every time you fail, you gain experience. And that experience is invaluable. It's what separates those who succeed from those who give up. It's what makes you stronger, smarter, and more resilient. Every time you fall, you get back up, and you're better for it. Here's another important point. Failure is a sign that you're doing something. Think about it. If you're failing, you're trying. You're putting yourself out there. You're testing your limits. And that's a huge win. The alternative is sitting on the sidelines, doing nothing, and waiting for everything to be perfect. But perfection doesn't exist. And waiting for perfection will keep you stuck. You've got to take risks. You've got to put yourself out there and be willing to fail. And when you fail, instead of running from it, you need to embrace it, learn from it, get back up, and keep going. The key is to not let failure define you. Instead, let it shape you. Let it teach you. And here's the thing, you will fail again. That's right. Even after you've learned from past mistakes, you will fail again. But that's okay. Failure doesn't mean you're not capable. It means you're on the right path. It means you're stretching yourself. You're doing what others are too afraid to do. So when you fail, and you will fail, remember this: don't give up. Don't let the fear of failure stop you. Don't let it define you. Let it push you forward. Let it teach you what you need to learn, and keep going. Success isn't about avoiding failure. It's about learning from it, growing from it, and moving forward. You've got this. Keep pushing forward even when you fail, because that's when the real growth happens. Keep learning, keep adjusting, and keep striving toward your goals. Remember, you're not in this alone. We all fail, but the successful ones are the ones who keep going, who don't give up after one failure, or 10, or even 100. They keep going because they know that failure is not the end. It's just the beginning of something even better.